Okay, this video is real time. So, Linares and Crolla, the fight is just ended. The 12th round bell has just ended. The video is live. We are waiting for the cards to be read because there could be some controversy. I am T-Street Controversy. This is T-Street Controversy Live. I cover every single major fight live. Please subscribe. We're going to talk about the 135-pound division as a whole. Also, I don't want this video to exceed 15 minutes because the video after this is going to be a live stream video where we're going to spend about an hour, maybe two, talking about this fight, talking about the 135-pound division, and also other boxing news for the week. I apologize because I didn't provide pre-fight coverage. I didn't provide pre-fight coverage for this fight because I was sick and then I'm really busy during the week. But basically, I've watched maybe about 7 Anthony Crolla fights and maybe about the same amount of Jorge Linares fights. You know, I'm talking about in depth. So basically, if fights are on television or you know playing anywhere, I'll have them on, but I may not be watching it in depth. So what we're doing is wait.
We will find out how the judges have scored it. That's all that matters. Here's Craig Stevens.
Now let's listen to these cards, and then we're going to talk about it. Please subscribe, share, comment.
Ladies and gentlemen, before we declare the result, referee Terry O'Connor has asked. They ask you to join him in appreciation of 2 world-class boxers.
That referee was on some bullshit. We're going to talk about it later. Give me a minute.
We go to our judges' scorecards. Judge John King sees the contest 115-114. Guillermo Veneda 117-111. Judge Fernando Barbosa 115-113. All in favor of the winner. He is the WBC Diamond, the Ring Magazine, and the new WBA lightweight champion of the world.
Okay, that's a good decision.
Jorge Linares.
That's a good decision.
By 6, they got the right winner, Jorge Linares.
Now, listen, Anthony Crolla is not done. In fact, in my personal opinion, he has gotten better over his last several fights. But he was in there with a fighter that was about 2 levels above his skill level. And, you know, he fought a very, very good fight. And he was causing Jorge Linares some problems, especially with that early body work. Now, this referee, I forgot his name already, was making some questionable calls. And also, in my opinion, there was a point in time where I felt that Anthony Crolla was on his way down to the canvas, but the referee intervened and basically warned Jorge Linares for a belt that was below, well, for a punch that he thought was below the belt, but it wasn't. Also, you had a situation where Crolla would you know, look at the referee, and the referee would react and say, okay, yeah, it was a low blow. When the referee was in a position where he really couldn't see. And also, you would see that it would be like a late call because the referee wouldn't react until Crolla did. You know, and Paulie Malignaggi did a good job pointing that out. Also, Paulie Malignaggi was over there spitting the gospel for this fight. So, the 135-pound division is very, very deep. Now, let's talk about the Jorge Linares situation and what his belt means. He has the WBC Diamond belt. Now, because of an injury, also, he hasn't fought in, what? It's been like 11 months. They made him what is called a champion in recess. So, basically, what that means is that he is the #1 contender for the real WBC title, which the Zlaticanin holds. Remember, he fought Ricky Barnes. Him and Mikey Garcia, who is back, are heavily rumored to be fighting this November or so. Now, Zlaticanin, I know I'm butchering his name. I apologize. No disrespect. Let's listen to Linares.
Yo sé que todos me pican porque estoy en casa de Crolla. Lo quiero mucho, lo admiro mucho. Él me dijo una vez que era mi fan, yo también soy fan de él. Ahora más que nunca, ya que hicimos una tremenda pelea.
First of all, I want to tell all the people in Manchester, thank you so much. Anthony Crolla once told me he was a fan of mine. I'm a fan of his. We gave Manchester a beautiful fight, and we can do it again.
Were you confident that you had done enough in Manchester? Sí, la verdad sí, me sentía súper bien. Me lastimé un poco la mano derecha en el sexto round y ahí pues fui inteligente y comencé a hacer mi estrategia. Pero en el 10º round le dije a mi entrenador Ismael Sala, voy con todos estos últimos 3 rounds. Y eso fue lo que me hizo ganar, los últimos 3 rounds.
Yes, I hurt my hand in the 6th round. I backed off a little bit, worked, did strategy, but I told my corner in the 10th round, I'm going to go and close these next 3 rounds, and I think that's what got me the victory.
Lo puse mal en varias ocasiones porque yo sentí que lo puse mal, pero no tenía que atorarme. Esa era mi estrategia, ser inteligente y por qué no llevarlo a decisión, ya que no me lastimó nunca.
Yes, I feel I hurt him a couple times. I saw him rock, but I didn't want to go forward too much, to get too aggressive. I had to be intelligent, and that's what we did.
Your critics were talking about the weight, about the hand injury, about your motivation, perhaps due to the performance against Kevin Mitchell as well. Does this prove that you're well and truly back to your best? Al principio de la preparación física sí estaba un poco preocupado con respecto a la mano, pero gracias a Dios me sentí súper bien. Pero en la pelea nunca sentí preocupación, presión, al contrario, me sentí bastante cómodo. La verdad que hizo hasta un clima excelente acá en Manchester y la verdad me sentí bastante cómodo. Así que nunca tuve problemas.
At the beginning of camp, I was worried about my hand. As the weeks went by, it was never a problem anymore. I got to camp, I got to Manchester, the weather was perfect, I felt comfortable, I felt really good, and I was ready, and it didn't affect me anymore.
What does the future hold for you now? Bueno, ¿qué te puedo decir? Ahora descansar y ver cómo me siento con la mano, me recupero y lo más pronto que me recupere, vuelvo otra vez al gimnasio, así que espero que se me den oportunidades grandes, porque nuevamente aquí en Inglaterra, porque nuevamente aquí en Manchester, ¿por qué no?
Well, first I want to take a good break, a rest, see how my hand heals. Once it's done and healed, I'll go back to the gym, start training, and why not come back to England? Why not come back to Manchester? I love it here.
Por último, quiero darle gracias a mi equipo, a ti Linares, a Ismael Sala, a Jorge Capetillo, a mi esposa, a mi suegra, a mi familia, a mi hija que está en Las Vegas. Gracias a Dios primero que nada, y a Gilberto Mendoza, que en paz descanse, que yo le debía este cinturón de la MB. Vine a casa del rival nuevamente y aquí se lo doy.
I want to thank my team, my corner, my wife, my family, and especially Mr. Mendoza. May he rest in peace. I promised him this belt before he died. I came to my opponent's backyard, and I'm taking him the belt back like I promised.
I'm sure we all let go of that. Incidentally, was it the same hand that you've injured previously that you injured in the fight? La misma mano derecha, sí.
Yes, the right hand.
Pero no siento que es en el mismo lugar, sino pienso que es el nudillo.
Jesus, this is long, isn't it?
The same place, the same injury. It's in the knuckle.
Just a question for you, Robert. You're very fond of Jorge. As his promoter and his friend, will you defend these belts at lightweight, or will you look now to become full-weight world champion with Jorge?
No, right now, obviously, the rest, we are very proud of Jorge. And look, Anthony Crolla deserves a rematch, and why not do it again?
Okay, well, you teed it up perfectly. Let's see what Anthony
Of course you
thinks
say
of
that.
Congratulations to all the team, Linares.
I didn't know this was going to be this long, guys.
Anthony,
But we got to listen to it.
It was a great fight to watch. Did you think you had done enough there, or was that the right result?
Listen, it was close. You worked hard, and it was a close fight. I got no complaints. I watched it back, and I made a few mistakes. Walked onto a few sharp counters, what Joe told me to throw. So a bit disappointed in that, but I'm just disappointed I couldn't win these belts for the city of Manchester.
Tremendous support again. How badly hurt were you in that 6th round? Is it a testament to your strength and condition that you came through it?
Yeah, he ran the world. I'm not going to lie, he had still spinning now, but yeah, I train hard. I've got a great team around me. I'm in great condition, and that's what pulled me through it. And I felt the next round I finished strong, but go away. Obviously, I'm absolutely gutted. Listen, it's a pleasure to share the ring with a great like Jorge Linares, but I don't celebrate losing. I'm absolutely gutted.
Is he the best fighter that you fought in your career? Do you believe that he's the best lightweight in the world now? Have you shared the ring with him?
Yeah, he's the best fighter I've shared the ring with. I came so close to beating him, so I think it shows that I belong at that level. I just made him at this level. A few little mistakes can cost you dearly, and I think that's what it did tonight. But it was a very close fight. I'll have to watch it back. But listen, it's a tough, close fight.
You're going to rest now, but he did say, and his promoter Robert Diaz, they would happily come back for a rematch. Is that something you're interested in?
Listen, the way they sit, so that's the least they owe me. I've got to make sure I win a rematch, and hopefully they all come out and support me again. It's something I'm so thankful for.
bringing the trainer, Joe Gallagher. Joe, what was the game plan, and was Anthony able to carry it off?
Yeah, he was carrying the game plan very well. I thought after 8 it was level, 10 it was level. Well, I've just seen Linares class, he got a second wind. They sort of like shoe shine the last 2 rounds. Well, a huge effort for Anthony Crolla. And like I said, I'm looking forward to the rematch.
Thanks, Joe. Let's just hear from Eddie Hearn as well. Eddie, lost the world champion from the stable, but if there's any positive to take from this, what are they?
The boxers like Anthony Crolla want to fight the best, and they want to give the fans the best. I know he's gutted. Manchester should be so proud of this man. We're all so proud of him. He's an absolute gentleman, a great fighter. And let me tell you, it's not, will there be a rematch? There will be a rematch. There's already an agreement for a rematch. He will rematch at Jorge Linares in Manchester. We will make it happen again. He will get another shot and he will beat him. It was a very close fight. Jorge Linares is a wonderful competitor. Sport is all about the best fighting the best. But I tell you what, this young man is a credit to Manchester and Great Britain. He's a great role model. He never moans. Everything he's been through, he's never moaned once, you know. And he'll dust himself down with the support of the people, with the support of the team. We will fight Jorge Linares again, and I believe he'll beat him. The Anthony Crolla story is not over, trust me.
Yeah, the fans were the real winners. I'll give you the final word to the crowd in here, Anthony.
Manchester, I'm sorry I couldn't do it tonight, but thank you so much.
Congratulations.
That was long. I'm sorry. But listen, I know there's some people that say, you know, we already seen or we already heard the post-fight interview. No, there's people that haven't. So, anyway, let's get to it. Eddie Hearn has said there's a rematch agreement. Jorge Linares is a Golden Boy fighter. They may want to stage it somewhere else. You know, Eddie Hearn says he wants it in Manchester. We don't know what the contract looks like. We don't know when or if it's going to happen. I pretty much maybe see that he'll have Anthony. Knowing Eddie Hearn, what I've learned about him is he'll likely have Crolla active again, you know, within maybe on the next, I don't know. You know, I believe he's going to be a co-feature on somebody's card. You know, I don't want to say Anthony Joshua because Anthony Joshua's fighting in November the 26th, and that's going to be a little too soon. But basically, let's talk about the 135-pound landscape. You have Terry Flanagan, who's the WBO champion. He's a Frank Warren fighter who fights on Box Nation. So, you know, a fight against him, a unification fight with him and Jorge Linares can happen. You also have Robert Easter, who's the newly crowned IBF champion at 135 pounds. I don't see him fighting, you know, any stiff competition anytime soon. Even though the IBF is, in my opinion, the most strict boxing organization. And also, they work very heavily with the WBA and the WBC in making unifications. But I don't see Jorge Linares, I don't see Robert Easter going down that route. I see for his next fight, him fighting somebody in the bottom in the bottom of the top 15 of the IBF rankings. So when you look at the Jorge Linares situation, right? He's the WBC Diamond champion. You have Dejan Zlaticanin, who is the WBC, you know, what is considered the real WBC champion. And then you have Mikey Garcia, who is supposed to be fighting Dejan Zlaticanin sometime around the end of this year. And then the winner of that is going to be mandated to fight Jorge Linares sometime later on down the line. So when you look at Mikey Garcia or Dejan Zlaticanin's situation, they are in a good situation to fight Jorge Linares and be a unified champion. You know, 2 birds with 1 stone. You know, and then they could probably try to get, you know, Terry Flanagan or Robert Easter. And not to mention, there's a whole lot of other names. For example, Felix Verdejo, even though he's injured with the motorcycle accident. You have Luke Campbell, who is going to be fighting Derry Matthews. Who is Luke Campbell fighting next? He's fighting a big name, right? Well, a known name. I think he's fighting Derry Matthews next. He's the 135-pound WBC silver champion, if I'm correct, or is he the interim? Remind me. But I believe he's the silver champion. Let me go check real quick, you know, just to make sure. I'm sorry, I don't want to do this right now, but just to make sure we're giving out accurate, reliable information, I'm going to go look it up really quick. Now, I cover all Luke Campbell fights, and I know I should know this, but I apologize. I apologize. Okay. So you have Jorge Linares, who's considered the champion in recess. You have Zlaticanin, who's the champion, the WBC champion, you know, the real champion. Then you have Luke Campbell, who's the silver champion. And then you have the interim champion, who's these guys. Oh, that's the international. There is no interim champion. So basically, you have some pretty good fights. You know, I don't want to take too long, but you have some pretty solid fights shaping up in the 135-pound division. You know, especially the fact that Mikey Garcia is back. You got a fighter by the name of Peter Petrov, who's fighting in a eliminator fight. You know, very, very good fighter, underrated. You got Henry Hank Lundy, who's fighting back down there. You got Yvonne Mendy, the guy who beat Luke Campbell. Luke Campbell haven't rematched him yet, but Eddie Hearn, I remember during that post-fight interview, he said he was going to rematch Yvonne Mendy. So, you know, then you got Luke Campbell. And then if you look at the other names in the 135-pound division, like I said, Robert Easter, Felix Diaz, you know, Miguel Vasquez, however boring he is. So there's some pretty good fights out there. Also, you even have Ishmael Barroso, who Anthony Crolla beat. You know, so that rematch may be out there. So, like I said, I am T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live. I cover every single major fight live. All the links to my social media are right down below in the description box. Also, you'll be able to go to my Instagram and see highlights of this fight and every major fight that I cover. So I really didn't want this video to be this long, but I apologize. But we had to listen to the post-fight interviews. So Jorge Linares is now the WBC Diamond champion, the Ring Magazine champion at 135 in the WBA. So technically, you can say he's the he is the #1 guy at 135 pounds. Then you have Robert Easter and Terry Flanagan. It's going to be really interesting to see what Robert Easter is going to do. You know, because he is young. Okay, let me tell you how that works, right? He's in about Billion's Adrian Broner fighter. But just like Mayweather Promotions, they're all advised under Al Heyman. So Al Heyman is really like the promoter of these guys. So when Robert Easter won his eliminator fight to get the title shot against Richard Comey for that vacated title, who called him to congratulate him? Al Heyman. You know, go look at the video. You know, it's out there. So it's going to be interesting to see what's being done with Robert Easter, because Al Heyman is not going to just throw him to the wolves just yet. But then again, he did it with Christopher Martin. You know, and if the money's right, you know, we could see him versus Jorge Linares. But also, Jorge Linares is a Golden Boy Promotions fighter. So, you know, there's a lot of politics involved. And even when it comes to Anthony Crolla, if Crolla would have won, then I would have loved to see how they would have did Terry Flanagan versus Crolla, because Crolla is a Sky Sports fighter, you know, Eddie Hearn, and then you have Flanagan, who's a Box Nation fighter. Now, I've heard that they've done business in the past, but they tried to avoid that. So I feel a fight like that would go to purse bid. But he doesn't have the belt anymore. They're talking about a rematch. Like I said, I feel that Eddie Hearn is going to have him in like a warm-up fight, you know, a comeback fight somewhere, maybe 1 or 2, and then he's going to get him back to fighting, you know, for a title again. And if he's going to be fighting at 135, you know, would he go down the Terry Flanagan route? Would he go down the WBO route? You know, would he go down the IBF, you know, Robert Easter route? You know, especially since Robert Easter won a somewhat, I felt he won the fight, but it's considered a controversial decision, because there's still a lot of people that felt that Comey won the fight, or Comey, however you pronounce his name. So, I don't want this to be a 20-minute video, so I'm going to say this is T Street Controversy. This is T Street Controversy Live. I cover every single major fight live. All the links to my social media are right down below in the description box. Please subscribe.